him. Encourage him. You see his swagger. Welcome.
Thank you. Please celebrate yourself one more time. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I can see a couple of my friends. I want to say thank you to Daniel for putting this together and the rest of the team. And then please, can we celebrate the panelists? They did amazingly well. I just really came in and I learned a lot in about 5 minutes while I was sitting. Thank you so much. I was inspired. And I'm just going to be talking about the power of vision. Vision beyond limits. That's what they have asked me to speak about. And if you are listening to me, I want you to Daniel just whispered to me that I have little time. But I want everybody to listen to me because I'm just going to be saying everything that you need. And by the time I am done, I want everybody sitting in this room now to step out of a particular category of people I have seen in the last 8 years of doing this work of raising leaders. They are the people I call the conference addicts. Ladies and gentlemen, there are people I call conference addicts. These are the people who attend almost all the conferences that happen around their society, around their community. In fact, anywhere they see a flyer, it's as if something just tells them, enter that hall now. Pay for that ticket. They want to attend every conference. But I've noticed something. That after attending all of these conferences, nothing changes. Nothing significant. And you see, sadly, we are in a generation where people know so much but do so little. We're in a generation where people know too much that they are suffering from what I call knowledge paralysis. Where anybody can look at anybody and tell you what you are doing wrong, but they've not done anything to correct what they are correcting in society. And this is because we know too much in this generation. But nobody wants to do anything. So what's the problem? We know, but we don't apply. And listen to me, one of the things I've noticed in the life of great visionaries over the years is that they are action takers. Ladies and gentlemen, I came here to say to you that action has no season. If you are here, you are listening to me, action has no season. The best time to do something as a visionary is now. So we must move from knowing into implementation. I've discovered in my journey that a lot of people find it so convenient to say things instead of becoming what they say. It's a problem. A lot of people prefer the paparazzi of the spotlight, but they run away from the discipline of preparation and process. And that's the reason why we achieve so little in this generation. I've discovered that a lot of people prefer to fly with first-class tickets, but they suffer from first-class mediocrity. Because in this generation, we don't like to prepare. And over the course of history, I discovered that some of the greatest visionaries have certificates, but we have people who are knowledgeable, but they've not been able to improve on the inventions of our forefathers. I discovered that our forefathers, with little and limited education, they were able to produce gari from cassava. Our forefathers, with limited education, they were able to produce the thatch roof. They were able to produce mortar and pestle. But what do I see today? There are many people in our generation who have not been able to improve on the inventions of our forefathers. That's why I used to say to young people sometimes, many of us are not educated, we are simply decorated. Because the moment you cannot improve on the inventions of the people who created so much without much of the education you have access to, you are just decorated. If you are listening to me now, look at your neighbor and say, I will not be decorated. This is leaders, visionaries, they begin to think. I've discovered that thinking is higher than reading. We learn a lot. We study so much. We go to conferences. But many of us don't spend time to think. Many of us don't spend time to cultivate knowledge. Listen, reading and learning is the accumulation of knowledge, but thinking is the cultivation of knowledge. When you read, you say yes to knowledge. But when you think, you say why to knowledge. When you read, you agree with knowledge. But when you think, you argue with knowledge. When you read, you accumulate knowledge. But when you think, you bring value from knowledge. I have discovered that many of us are not patient enough to bring value from knowledge. I've looked at nations of the world, and I've discovered that some of the greatest nations of the world, they are nations where people are serious thinkers. As a matter of fact, I discovered when I was doing a survey recently, I was asking some young people, what's the problem of Nigeria? Many people began to say that the problem of Nigeria is delay. It were things that so many people sat down by Thomas Edison. Is that right? An infrastructure. But I studied that Thomas Edison spent time to brood the idea and bring it to life through thinking. So therefore, I said to people in my generation, because infrastructure is the availability of the commodities for comfortable living, but mental structure is the availability of the mentality for productivity. So right now in Nigeria and Africa, what we need first is not street light. What we need is mind light. Is somebody hearing what I'm saying now? So we must start to think. One of the things that characterizes great visionaries is the power of thinking. We must start to think. We must forego the burden of ease. We must forego ease and enter into the burden of thinking. But one of the reasons why so many people don't spend time to think and to create powerful visions is that many people are not authentic. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the greatest men we celebrate today, they have authentic visions. We're in a time where it is very convenient to be somebody else. So many people don't want to spend time to go through the discipline of becoming, because we can just look at somebody and copy what they do and copy their style. Somebody is speaking like this, we want to speak like them. Somebody has, they give their company a name. We don't want to spend time to think. We want to do what they do. We want to give ourselves the same image that we see other people have. I used to tell people many times, you see, you can copy my moves, but you can't copy the vision. You were not there when I received it. Listen, we must spend time to become, that vision must be authentic. I discovered that we celebrate a tree because of the fruit. We see a mango, we celebrate a mango. We see an orange, we celebrate a root that gives the tree life. So if you celebrate a mango, spend time to celebrate the roots. Because if a tree is not deeply rooted into the ground, any storm can fall the tree. Is that correct? So if you are here in this generation now, you must spend time to build depth. Somebody say build depth. Every great visionary must have depth. Because depth is what gives you the strength to pass through tough times. There are many people I see today who complain at little things because they don't have depth. They do things because they copy others. So I see many people change vision every year. So today, the brand, what is reigning now is the Amazon expert. Now, some people are now Amazon. They are calling it to do Amazon experts. So AI is now trending now. Some people are now AI experts. So you see, what the new wave now is content creators. Everybody's calling now is content creation. We must build our lives to be able to create evolution. So that's why I say to people, if every trend that exists makes you to rethink your convictions, it means you never had it. Humans are supposed to be the drivers of change. And that's why I call it, there's something I call the paradox of followership. if you are here, you are a leader. I've understood over the years that leaders are people who drive change. Leaders are people who bring new ideologies to the table. But what do we see today? We see followers now leading leaders. Because so many people now, before they make a post on social media, they think, what will people say about it? So what are my followers going to like this post? Are they going to feel me? So we no longer say the truth. We now look for validation. Listen, in this generation, the mantra is value over validation. Look at your neighbor and say value over validation. I don't care the number of praises you give to me. All I know is I'm fulfilling my calling. We are suffering from what I call the more grace syndrome now. Everybody wants people to tell them more grace. As a matter of fact, I have so many grease on my elbow now. Since 2017, more grease to your elbow. If a that validation. Listen to me, if you are here, be authentic. Build something tangible. It's very convenient to become somebody else. In a time where it's easy to become something in secret and become another thing in public, become intentionally authentic. Very important. There's a young man who is a mentee to me. The guy does everything I do. He dresses like me. He speaks like, you see the way I'm so passionate, he speaks like me. In fact, my organization now, the young man went to go and name his own organization the same thing. I said, take it easy, boy. And you know what I did? I called him and I said, you know what? I am supposed to inspire you to be you. I'm a Christian. I was studying the Bible and I discovered that Elijah, the prophet, he was very fiery. As a matter of fact, he liked to call fire down to burn people. Prophets of Baal, fire came. Roasted 150, roasted 20. It was roasting people. His anointing was a suya anointing. Roast you. But look at something now. He had a servant called Elisha. When he was about to leave, Elisha was to receive double portion. And Elisha healed more people. Even though Elisha had double portion of Elijah's anointing. Listen, allow yourself to be inspired to become who you are supposed to be. Authenticity. Many of us used to do it a lot. When we're younger, we see those big brother with plenty beards. We'll go and buy spirits and be rubbing it here. Because we want to have beards too. But you see now, the same beards we were struggling to have, now we are spending money to shave it. There's time for everything. Build depths. Visionaries are authentic people. And this is the reason why I see a lot of people do careless philanthropy even in our societies today. Many people just claim to make impact, but they are not making any impact. That's why our social development space, we need to reform it. For example, I was talking to a couple of NGO leaders, and I said something, I said, young NGO leaders, I said, all what you do is just that you look at what people do and you want to do this. You see, she goes to communities like that and gives pad to young girls. So I called her, I watched her work, I was looking at her work for a while, I observed, and I said, come, let me tell you something that you are missing. Now, I told her, I said, in a community like this where there are 200 people, for example, you want to impact the lives of those people? I said, yes. You want to give them pads, which is good. Most of them don't have pads. Most of them never have education on that and those things. You know what some people do? I discovered from research, permit me to say, that a woman goes through the menstrual cycle for 4 days. You know, that's the least number of days. And if it's going to exceed 4 days, maybe there's a heavy flow. Mothers and women, am I correct? Yes. Yes. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I tried. So what some people do, they go to a community where there are 200 girls. And they just bring maybe 10 packs of pad. And in that one pad, I think it's about 7 in number or so. 8. Sorry, ma. I'm trying. I don't have a sister. We have 5 boys in my house. I don't have a sister. So please forgive me. 8. Now, 10 pads times 8. That's how many? 80. And there are 200 girls. You know what will happen? They share the pad. Sometimes a child has one single pad like this. And they'll do photo op and snap pictures. and post it and say, we have just made impact. Yes, they made impact. But what they have done is that they've created more problem. Because if the child used one, what will she use for the remaining days? That's the dangers of doing good. It's because in our generation, many young people don't spend time to learn the ropes. We want validation. I'm doing something good in my society. Yes, do something good, but do it well. No authenticity. So do you know what I call impact? Go to that community, pick one girl. Get the full roll of power like this and give that girl and say, go. That's impact. For 6 months or 8 months, you have saved a life. Politicians who have billions go to communities in December and go and share bags of rice. That's careless philanthropy. You know what happens? After they eat that rice, it creates entitlement mentality. So they now keep depending on you to bring more rice. So do you know what I will do instead? I will go to that community and first of all, open a school of entrepreneurship. Bring all of those youths who need rice. While I am feeding them, I am training them. I am teaching them skills. I am teaching them vocational skills, tech skills. I'm empowering their minds for a project as long as 6 months. When I'm done in 6 months, I take the outstanding ones and take them to do internship somewhere around town based on the skills they've learned. When they are done doing internship, what have I done? I have empowered them in knowledge. I've empowered them practically, and they are now fit to start their own venture. When they go back to that community, they become change makers themselves. That's impact. Stop sharing rice in communities. Authenticity. I've been doing social development for 8 years, and I've come to understand. That's why even in the community I studied, I discovered that some people went to go and do boreholes in one northern community. For the women, they said the women are always trekking to go and fetch water. They are trekking. And then they even destroyed the borehole, the women themselves. When they asked why, the women said, going to fetch that water is the only time we have to interact. Sometimes our husbands cage us. So when we are trekking those long distances, we are gisting, we are catching up. It's not suffering to us. And I discovered that as impact makers, we need to do more evidence-based change-making projects. Evidence-based. Is it meeting the need of people? Many of you will stop doing what we call impact after speaking here. Authenticity. Build deep roots. I just finished a project in the IDP camp. We rounded up today. A slum to champion project. That's what we call it. We went to the IDP camps. We're teaching them every week leadership. So this guy followed me. No fights. You see, what we have done is that so there's a school we are partnering with there. We're going to ask how far. How have you been putting into place what you have been learning, what you learned in November? That's important. Most of us are only schooled. We went to formal school, but we don't have real education. Education is not reading the books only. Schooling gives you a time frame to get a certificate. But what certifies you as an educated person is your skill and value and the solutions you've been able to create. And that's why so many people like me, today I regret that I studied mechanical engineering in school. I'm not engineering any machines. I'm engineering human minds now. So I did not. You know why? From a research, we have discovered that many of the world's population will be using electric cars. But what they taught me as a mechanical engineer is that when I want to service a car, I enter under one pit and go and pour engine oil on our body and say, oh God, we don't work the car. But the engineers of the future will not need all of those things. They will just need to go and create softwares, create rechargeable systems. So, what our educational system should be teaching engineers now is how to diagnose electric cars, not how to fix cars mechanically. Because in the future, I'll be jobless. That's why many of our universities have become uni-cemeteries, where the gifts, talent, and skills of people are killed and buried daily. Kind of people. When a man has vision, that man is seen as a crazy man. Because he is beginning to see things that do not exist as if though they have already existed. I studied about countries like Dubai. Dubai was built originally to be a fishing village. What we call a fishing village today is one of the world's foremost tourism center. Let's forget about Dubai. Let's come to Africa. Rwanda. Rwanda is the African country where tourism is sweet now. Matter of fact, they are doing some of the greatest work in innovation. Rwanda suffered what I call the genocide almost 20 years ago. When they came out of genocide, they put a goal and they said Rwanda will become a country with the most stable economy, and they've achieved it. Rwanda currently, as a matter of fact, I'm going to Rwanda next month for my International Youth Leadership Conference. I'm hosting a conference in Rwanda. My guys have been prepping my mind. They said, don't worry, come. I called my friend by 2 a.m. I was hearing I said, where are you? He said, we're strolling out on the street. I said, strolling where? Enter house. He laughed. He said, I think it's Nigeria. By 2 a.m., you can leave your door open Kigali. It's an African country. It's not Dubai this time around. When I studied those nations of the world, I saw how vision transformed those nations. Dubai, for example, they casted a vision. And they were able to say, you know what? We are going to work towards this vision. Trust me. The people who even created the vision, there's a 100-year plan now in Dubai or something like that. And they say, the person who created the blueprint, he said, authenticity of vision. No blueprint for the people or for leadership. And it's a problem. I was raised in a family where we grew up in a rural area. Many times I would see my dad would lose his job sometimes for 3 years. In Warri, I was born in Warri, Delta State. I grew up in Warri, Delta State, spent most of my life there in a community called Asheshe in Warri. My dad would lose his job sometimes for 3 years. My mom was a teacher. And her salary at that time was 20,000 or so. And with that, is that sometimes the salary doesn't come complete because we are five boys. So sometimes we attend the same school where she still meals. He worked in the oil and gas. That's why I studied mechanical engineering, because he wanted to fix me somewhere after school. But I've disappointed him anyway. Every night he'll be sending emails. I heard my father, literally, every night say, I must get my job back. I saw my mother encourage him. My mother, as a teacher, I kept on hearing her say, one day I will have my school. I will stop this nonsense. Sometimes she will be tired and she'll sit down and she's crying and she's saying, what kind of life is this? Many years after, I've done a radio advert, but there's no space in that school currently. Students more than 600. Opened in 2020. My father has gone on to succeed in his oil and gas. Yeah. But you see, what am I trying to say? I grew up in a family where vision was the bedrock. I grew up hearing my mother confess a reality she did not have. And that's why today, one of the major things that is a driver for my success is vision. That's why I want to also celebrate my father. And if you are here, you are a woman, I want to tell you that success is unisex. My mother was able to succeed because her husband was able to hold her hands. I will see the man many times carry his salary and give it to her and say, that school you are building, take my salary, put it there. Many times he didn't have a salary. No jokes, true life story. Sometimes she wants to go to ministry and do something. He says, take my car. And it's entering keke. Success is unisex. Never reduce your dream as a woman to match the ego of an insecure man. I began to paint my future. I'm rounding up already. So vision, one of the things that vision does is that vision creates discipline in your life. If you are a visionary, everything does not go. Vision creates discipline. I didn't spend time to put on this outfit. I just had to put a trouser, a jacket. I might not be too fashionable, but that's why my life is easy. Most of the women here cannot relate. I know some of you spend 5 hours thinking. You will change, look at the mirror. Don't think this. You go back. You have so many options. Vision reduces your options. Vision makes the way narrow. Thank you, ma. Vision reduces your options. It makes you focused. There are many things that make sense to other people, but it doesn't make sense to you because you have vision. So vision makes your wardrobe have only one color of clothes. Not literally, though. Your wardrobe of your life. Sometimes I can just pick this jacket and wear it 2 times. I don't care because I don't have time. Not like I don't have jackets, though, but that's the power of vision. It makes your decisions easy. If at all you ever question either to do the right things or the wrong things, it means you don't have vision. As a matter of fact, if you have vision, it creates discipline that there are certain things people don't say because you are there. Many times my friend wants to say some things, they say, Isiwu don't come, this leader. Don't worry. And they end it. And that's it. Because I have vision. Vision helps you do the right things, not the good things. There are many things that are good, but they are not right for you. Because visionary people do only the right things. That's why you need vision. It streamlines your focus. Vision defines your relationship. If you are listening to me now, vision defines your relationship. Certain people will no longer need to hang around you because you have vision. I was studying the Bible and I discovered that when the angel went to Mary and said, I was asking when she went to meet Elizabeth, something remarkable happened. The baby in Elizabeth's womb leaped for joy. Listen, stay around people that vision automatically inspires a heart for service. There's no visionary person who is not passionate about serving. In 2016, when I had just started my journey, every time I was looking for who to serve. Because that's the most important thing. I discovered from a research that when a seed is being planted into the ground, the seed has to die to bring forth other fruit. Is that correct? I also discovered from the life of ants that when a male and female ants, they are mating, the male ant dies immediately, the process is over. The same thing happens to a squid. The male squid dies immediately, the process is over. Although on a lighter note, I was asking why always the men? That was just a joke though. But I discovered that certain things had to die for life to come. That's why if you are here, you are listening to me, you must die today. No, don't be scared. Not dying physically, but you must die to greed. You must die to selfishness. You must die to laziness. There are some of you, you need to stop talking too much so that your vision can come alive. Not talking positively. Some of you have talked down your own vision. Some people, they say, me, I dey talk am as e dey be. As it enter my mind, I tell you, I know they fear anybody. See, you begin to fear people now. That's why many people don't trust you. Some of you enter into the rooms where there are certain men who can fund that vision that you have, but you use your mouth to kill it. You go to somebody's office to go and present proposal, you are opening fridge to drink juice. Who sent you that one? Bad character. You must give you the power to die in service. It's very important. So if you are here, you must be a human seed. Somebody say human seed. A human seed is somebody who gives himself up for a cause. And that was the same thing I discovered in the life of people like Nelson Mandela. For 27 years, he was in prison. He invested his life for his people. That was him. But they did not allow him to go and see his son. They said you must forfeit this course and then you can go. Guess what? He did not go. If I was Nelson Mandela, I would sign it. Say, please let me go. But I began to reflect when I saw that documentary. I asked myself, have I really understood what leadership is? Can I hold on to my vision so strongly that I can give my youthful life for the vision? 27 years is not a joke. He went into prison when he was 45. Came out at 72. There are certain people I have seen, they succeeded at 60. Life for some people began at 50. That's where some people saw breakthrough. But a man invested his youth for people. When he came out of prison, the people began to clamor for him to be president. I've never seen that before. And that was how I understood. Nelson Mandela, guess what? I would ask people not to campaign for office if I had the opportunity to. I would only ask people to come out and declare their intention to be president and allow people to judge them, to verify their value, to verify their integrity, and then we can make them president. That's why leadership is. In 2018, I volunteered like a madman. This bouncer wants to take me out of here. Sorry, sir. I'm leaving your stage. I volunteered in service like a madman. One experience I'm going to share, I can never forget it. 2018, I can never forget. A young man bring me with so much fire and vision. I was to speak at an event. I did not have transport. Happened many times. It's just one. As a matter of fact, I had only 100 naira. How many of you have been to Owerri, Imo State? If you are confident, there's a place they call Ihagwa community. Ihagwa. I schooled in Futo, Owerri. The community, the event was happening there in the school. And I had just 100 naira to enter bike and go. I wore my coat. You know, there's a difference between suit and coat. This one I'm wearing is suit. Coat. I did not have transport to go back home, of course. People were now going home, networking. And I sat down at the back of that hall. It was called Futo Guest House. That's the name of the hall. I sat down at the back. So many people came to me many times. Samuel, are you not going? I said, I have a meeting. I'm waiting for some. I never had any meeting. I was waiting for all of them to go so that I can trek. Because there's one shortcut. You know, when you are broke, that's when you know all the shortcuts. That's when you know all the shortcuts to pass. Any of your friend that knows many shortcuts is always trekking. Everybody left the hall. True life story. I was at the back. When they left, I stood up on foot. While I was doing that, I was muttering some words under my breath. I take over this land. I was saying that to my voice while I was walking. My blood and my sweat, I've given it in service to these people. I take this land. Influence over this land. 2018. While I was doing that, I conceived a vision where I saw myself speaking to 1,000 people in a leadership conference. I'd never... This one is not visionary hunger. Hunger. It makes you think things. I saw that vision. I take over this land. Guess what? To cut the long story short, in 2022, we broke a record in our hostel, meaning that all undergraduates that vacated campus. So many times when I'm telling the story, I tell people that God, angels brought people. Many people who paid for tickets got angry and left. And they said, why can I come to an event that I don't have seats? And they went home. My team were complaining. I said, leave it. This one is good. Let's celebrate it. They left for good. Vision. I incubated it in 2018. I worked it out in 2022. You must understand that vision is a currency that can transform your life forever. When you find a good vision from either your passion or whatever makes you angry, Isiwu who grew up, I had only my pocket money of 500 naira I saved for 1 month. I used my mother's laptop and I printed letters. Went to a cyber cafe and printed it out and bought envelope. 20 naira. And I put them inside. I began to trek to schools around Bori to submit those letters. As a matter of fact, one school they call Standard School. They chased me away. The principal said, you small boy, what do you know you want to come and teach students? Will you get her for me? She almost called security. Out of 25 schools, only 4 accepted me. In 2022, in December. That same worry, those schools, even more. willingly gave us students and said, come and train them. You know why? Any school I went to, I attached a recommendation letter that was signed by the governor of Imo State to me in 2021. So when they saw this recommended by governor of Imo State, come and train. How many do you need? The same young man in 2016. Listen, anything is possible for a man who has vision. Anything is possible. Write your vision down, make it simple, talk about it everywhere. Plan around it. Because the plan is a strategy that takes you from where you are to where you want to be. The reason why many people don't help other people who have vision is that many people want to see where you are before they take you to where you want to be. Some people can talk about their vision all day, but they don't have plan. Where's your business plan? Where's your vision board? Reevaluate your vision. I'm done, but I'll wrap up with this story. When I was in JSS2, something remarkable happened. Sorry, I used to talk a lot about 1,000 because I will never stop talking. One day I broke a plate in the kitchen. My mom beat hell out of me that day, so I went to school angry. I went straight to my class, rest my head on my desk. I was not talking to anybody. This thing was bad that sometimes my teachers flogged me in advance. During break, I can just be walking to the canteen and they say, you Isiwu. No, they used to call me Isiwu now. Isiwu, I know you will disturb my class later. Come here, let me flog you now. Flog me. I went to class that day, angry, resting my head on my desk. I was not talking to anybody. There was a free period. And she said, you, write list of noisemaker. She called one of my Yoruba friend. They were writing the list. I was not even aware. I was just resting my head, crying and thinking about my life. When she was done, she came. When the period was over, she came. I said, where's my list? Pigs. They gave her the list. And she was flogging everybody according to the number of strokes. When she was done flogging everybody, she was looking at the list somehow, like, this list is not adding up. My name is not Isiwu. If you are Igbo, you know what Isiwu means. My name is Isiwu. First time in history, my classmates were defending me. Ma, Isiwu did not talk today. We were even surprised. Funny enough, him there is resting his head at the back. She said, it's a lie. Maybe he was talking and you people did not see that. That boy, there's no way he can. He said, well, come on, stand up, my friend. And she flogged hell out of me that day. I was crying. I said, what kind of, I hate you. Hate you, what kind of sin is it? I talk me is now right with me. They used to flog me for talking before. People now pay me to talk. I turned my problem into a positive solution. That's why if you are here, don't be a leader that is like a travel agent that takes people to where they've never gone to. Solve your problem first before helping other people to solve their problem. Every negativity in your life has a potential for light. As a matter of fact, darkness is the guardian angel of light. Where there's darkness, find inside there's light. I started by trekking on the streets. Start without the money first. Start pitching the idea. You don't need to have all the money. I want you to understand that you just need to START, just start. You know what great vision does? When vision is on the journey to accomplishment, it attracts resources.